So I presented a phase 2 study of this new drug called PrimeC in people with ALS. So PrimeC is a combination of two old drugs, ciprofloxacin and celecoxib. And the reason that those two were picked is that the ciprofloxacin works as a microRNA regulator, and the Celebrex works on neuroinflammation. And in preclinical models of ALS, both like iPS motor neurons and fish models of ALS, they each protected motor neurons alone, but they were better together. So that was the basis for it. So the phase 2 study was small. It was 70 patients, 6 months, double blind, followed by an open label extension. And what we found, first, that it was safe and well tolerated, and that was the primary outcome measure. Our secondary outcome measures were looking at clinical effects, and we saw in the intent to treat population about a 25% slowing, and then in the per protocol about a 34% slowing on the loss of function. So that's really good in ALS. We saw similar trends in breathing. And then we saw some slight reduction in neurofilament as well, a new biomarker for ALS. So the takeaways really is that this combination is safe. There's some trends that are positive on clinical outcome and on biomarkers, and it's really ready for the next phase, which would be a larger, global phase 3 trial. So the phase 3 trial is still being designed, but based on other ALS trials, I think it's going to be also on function, ALS functional rating scale, but taking into account survival. It'll be longer, maybe up to a year. It'll be bigger, and then we'll also be able to look perhaps like at strength measures as well as breathing and other biomarkers. I hope it'll start by the end of the year or early 2025, but we're excited about it. I think because ALS is so serious and the patient population is so engaged, it's really important to have exciting new therapies to share with them and trials that are coming up, even if it might be in a couple months. So I think for clinicians, knowing that there is a big pipeline of therapies coming for trials in ALS, and to become part of those clinical trials if they want to, and make sure their patients know that there still is a lot of hope and options for them coming up. Yeah, I think in all neurodegenerative diseases, ALS in particular, but also true for Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, developing ways to screen drugs in these phase 2 studies that then are going to be predictive for phase 3 is really the holy grail. And my hope is that this study will predict success, but obviously with small studies we never know for sure, and it's important to have approaches to go quickly from phase 2 to phase 3. So that we can have that replication and know if it's a real finding. I've been in the ALS field for 30 years, and it's never been more exciting than it is right now. We have targeted gene therapies. We've seen people get better on those gene therapies. We know now that this is potentially a treatable illness, but we need a lot more work on kind of the root cause and the sporadic patients without the genetic cause. But I'm very hopeful. There's over 300 companies in this space. There's a lot of new therapies coming up, and global efforts to try to bring those trials to patients no matter where they live. So I'm hopeful we'll have more successes in the coming years.